There is no other country. There is no other country in the world proposing to cut 2.5% off VAT. There's no other country in the world having to put up taxes on people earning £19,000 and £20,000 because it's so bankrupt. It's the Prime Minister who's completely isolated. Now, I thought, Mr. Speaker, that he might mention the former Chancellor, the member for Rushcliffe. My forecasts are slightly better than his. And I checked what he said on the day of the pre-budget report. He said that the fiscal stimulus was, and I quote, "not affordable, a reckless gamble, would make the recession worse and the recovery long and painful." Let us look. That is what he said. And by the way, this was the Chancellor that gave this Prime Minister a golden inheritance that he ruined. No, only the Prime Minister could smile at ruining a golden inheritance. Let's look at what retailers say. Let's look at what the retailers say about this VAT cut. The head of Marks and Spencer's says the VAT cut has not made a material difference. The head of Sainsbury's describes it as an annoyance. These are the very people it was meant to help, yet they are condemning it. Isn't it time to admit that he's wasted £12.5 billion in an appallingly expensive failure?
Let's be clear, first of all, about what the former Chancellor said. I may be in a minority, but I would look at a temporary reduction in VAT, which is the best way of stimulating spending, consumer spending, which helps businesses, and that is exactly what he said, and so did Lord Lamont. But my point is, we have spent £1 billion on this. It is a tax cut for the whole year, which adds up to £12 billion. It is £275 in people's pockets as a result of the effect on the typical family. He may think it's irrelevant, but people in my constituency and other constituents think it's important. He opposes, remember, the £60 increase in pension. He opposes the rise in child benefit that we brought about. He opposes a fiscal stimulus because he wants to cut public spending. He is totally on the wrong side of the argument. Even the monetarists in America are now supporting the need for the stimulus. And if he wants to be outside the consensus about what needs to be done, let it be. But people will remember, at a time of difficulty for the British people, they wanted to cut the very services on which the British people depend.
It's not that I think the VAT cut is irrelevant. It's that the leaders of the retail chains, of the biggest chains in Britain, all think it's not working and it's irrelevant. The truth is that the government's policies are achieving nothing. They announced a stamp duty holiday and the housing market got worse. They announced a bank bailout, yet the banks aren't lending. They announced a jobs summit on the day when thousands of jobs were lost. It is not just that the Prime Minister is running round like a headless chicken, one bogus announcement to another, with doing nothing for confidence. Isn't the worst thing of all this, by spending £12.5 billion by cutting VAT, isn't he just building up debts for Britain's children in a vain attempt to save his own skin?
Mr. Speaker, the only party that can help Britain's children is the party that is increasing child benefit, investing in the Child Trust Fund, investing in Sure Start, investing in nursery education, all the programmes that the Conservative Party will cut. I hope the Conservative Party will wake up to an economic reality that you cannot promise £50 billion to business and then say it's going to be funded by absolutely nothing. That is a do-nothing policy. They are the do-nothing party. They would leave people defenceless in the face of a global financial crisis. Other countries won't do that. We won't walk by on the other side. They would. We will not.